The next item 10 is feedback from board subcommittees. I'd like to invite Ed Smith to kick us off.
Thank you. Just briefly report back on the audit committee meeting of the 30th of November, which we held with Naguib and Moira as fellow committee members. Probably fell into three parts. We have inherited as a commissioning board the approval of the accounts for the authority, and we reviewed those accounts. They will come to the board in February for formal approval. We reviewed the internal audit work, which gave significant assurance on the internal control system during that period, and with the NAO, the expectation that they will provide a clean opinion on those accounts. The second part was the 6-month period we're now in, and again reviewing the internal audit plan and the NAO plan for the period to the end of March, which we approved. And the third and most important point was looking forward, and a substantial amount of time was spent on the expected start of a procurement for the internal audit service, which we expect to fully outsource to a professional services firm or consortium, and we expect that procurement to start imminently with the expectation that they will be in place for the start of the 13-14 financial year or very shortly thereafter. That is a very significant development, and the internal audit function will be a critical part of the internal control assurance that the board receives. We also spent time picking up the point that Victor made and Bill raised about beginning to ask management to come back with a full view of the sources of risk and assurance for the board for 13-14 and beyond, so that we have a full risk map of those risks and how we seek assurance through both management assurance and through both forms of internal and external assurance. So I think I can say that we've picked up quite a piece of work for the next quarter of next year to bring to the board a whole range of information about those risks and the assurance on them.
Thank you, Ed. Was there another committee that you wanted to report on?
No, not to my knowledge, Chairman.
Good. Let's move on to the CCG Authorisation Subcommittee. Victor.
Chair, we had a meeting, this was the first meeting of the CCG Subcommittee that I chaired. Grateful for the support of Barbara and her team. As has been said, we are doing this at a rate of knots. Myself, Naguib, Kieran, Carol, we spent most of the time on the process of authorisation for the bulk of the meeting, not because we wanted to assure ourselves that that process was solid and reasonable, and it was basically taking a look in the mirror before we pull out to check there was no ongoing traffic, and having done that, we were pleased to kind of approve the process. A process that's been carried out within the confines of time, the legislation and the resources available. We were happy to say it was good enough, but within those confines. We then went on to discuss the CCGs that were up for authorisation. There were 35, with the exception of one, which I'll mention in a minute. We authorised 8 fully. Full approval were given to 8. 26 we approved with some conditions, but were confident that those conditions will be resolved by 1st of April 2013 with the required support that we have to give to those CCGs to get over those conditions. There was one CCG that presented us with information on the day of the subcommittee about that was materially, would change their position materially, and we just felt that we could not consider their application at that meeting, and so their application has been deferred. So good meeting. We were, I think, Naguib and myself and Kieran were impressed with the way in which the CCG authorisation packs were presented to us, and the analysis that had been done saved us a great deal of time, and we were able to go through that process pretty speedily, having approved the authorisation process itself. I don't know whether any of my colleagues have anything to add, but
add one thing, which is there's an element of third-party assurance that we'll be getting at the end of the process from PwC and the lawyers who've been supporting us on this, which we couldn't get now because the process isn't finished, and we'll get that at the end of the process before we go live.
Yes, it's worth pointing out that I did seek assurance at the meeting from the professional advisors, both legal and advisory, that the process that we had gone through to get to that point was bona fide and gone through all the. So, but yes, Nagib did point out that we are seeking that report.
The deferred approval is deferred to wave 4, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Thank you. I think it's now the case, isn't it, that all the non-executive directors have attended one or more panel hearings.
I'm attending mine next Thursday.
And certainly my experience has been one of being really very impressed by the way in which the panel has been prepared and has acquitted itself, and the extent to which the CCGs have risen to the occasion, and the evidence, the quality of the evidence that they've brought to the panel. But this is an extraordinarily complex process to approve 211 new organisations which will commence full business on their own account with effect from the 1st of April. So, Nagib, thank you. Victor, thank you very much for chairing the committee, and Nagib for participation. We look forward to future reports as we go through the remaining waves. Good. Thank you very much. We turn now to any other business. The only item of other business that I've got is that the next board meeting is due to take place on the 28th of February in Manchester. And has anybody any other items of business? No, in which case the meeting is closed. The board itself will now move into a private meeting to deliberate on matters of confidential nature. But may I once again thank all members of the public for joining us this morning. Thank you.